Lamine Yamal steps into McDonald's, looks left, sees Pulisic, looks right, sees Jimenez. Gives a nod to Ronaldinho in the corner with a FIFA World Cup meal. Ronaldinho sees Son in the booth. Son finds Beckham going for extra Big Mac sauce. He's got Davies at the table just behind him. Davies going for his collectible cup. Oh no! A steal by Henry, who pulls his own collectible cup. Collect one of 9 legendary cups with a FIFA World Cup meal.
At participating McDonald's for a limited time while supplies last. All rights reserved. 2026 McDonald's at FIFA World Cup 2026.
Are all batteries the same? That's like asking if all soccer players are the same. Take Messi, the most decorated player ever. Is there any other player who has achieved that? No, just him. Now take Duracell. Is there any other battery with power boost ingredients inside? No, just Duracell. Remember, goats only trust goats because they're built different. And Messi only trusts Duracell.
Blowing ad budget on metrics that look great till the CFO sees them, that's bull spend. And marketers are calling it out in Dashboard Confessions.
I remember telling my boss, it'll be good for the brand, when leads were slow. Yeah, it wasn't.
Cut the bull spend. LinkedIn lets you target by company, job title, and more. Advertise on LinkedIn. Spend $250 on your first campaign and get a $250 credit. Go to linkedin.com/campaign. Terms and conditions apply.
I am one of Motunui.
On July 10th.
Maui, you will board my boat and restore the heart of Te Fiti.
And here we go. The journey begins.
See her light up the night in the sea. She calls me.
The ocean chose you.
Let's go save the world.
I got your back, chosen one. Disney's Moana.
Boat snack. His name is Hey Hey.
His name is Yum Yum when he goes in my tum tum. In theaters July 10th. Rated PG. Parental guidance suggested.
This episode is brought to you by Accenture. When your advertising operations fall out of sync, everything else follows. Spotify and Accenture are working together to reinvent the rhythm of ad sales, using automation, analytics, and smarter workflows to simplify campaign delivery and access better data across the business. The result? Less time spent on operations, more time connecting brands with the moments and fandoms that matter most. Learn more at accenture.com/Spotify.
This just in. The Brotherhood got another one. Another one. Another one. Another one. Another one. Another one. Got another one. Another one.
This just in. The Brotherhood got another one.
Another one. Another one.
Another one.
Another one.
I will be joining the Brotherhood of Duke University.
Another one.
We're the best show in college basketball. That's why the baddest players on the planet go there.
Got another.
W's in the shot.
Another one. Another one. That's all I gotta say.
Hey there, Duke fans. You hear that noise. You hear that sound. Another one. We're going to be talking about Kager Knueppel committing to the Blue Devils very, very quickly on this emergency episode of the Duke Basketball Roundup. I'm Donald Wine. I'm your host. Jason Evans is here. Jason, I pulled you on here because it's 10:16 on the East Coast. I am flying out west tomorrow, and this could not wait because we talked about Kager just yesterday and how, yeah, it's going to be great if he commits, and we didn't have to wait 24 hours.
Yeah, exactly. I do want folks to understand that, as people know, I'm in touch occasionally with the Knueppel family. Sherry is just the most wonderful basketball mom there is out there. I have reached out to her, and hopefully sometime in the next, 24, 48 hours or so, we will have a special interview here on the DBR podcast. Sometime in the next few days, we're going to try and get it done with the Knueppel family, but we had to come on and talk about this, the second Knueppel. You know, Donald, by the way, everyone, the Brotherhood, it is truly, honestly, the Brotherhood, the Jones brothers, the Plumlee brothers. We got so many of them here at Duke, and the Knueppel brothers, latest to have multiple boys playing for the Blue Devils.
And that's why we had to lead with the another one video, because if you saw it, that the one that's released, they always do like tweaks here and there.
I forgot the Boozer. I forgot to mention the Boozer brothers.
Yeah, the Boozer brothers. Come on, Jason. And Boozer family, really, because that is that's a whole pipeline. But for those of you who've seen the another one videos, of course, Duke can't officially announce when somebody commits, so they put out these little videos, and they do little tweaks sometimes to the video, whether it's adding new players to part of it. But this one was great because it starts and ends with Khan, and that was kind of their way of making this one a little bit more special, because Jason, as the caption says, it is an absolute Brotherhood moment. The fact that Kager is joining his brother as a Blue Devil, not playing at the same time, obviously, but becoming the latest Knueppel to matriculate to Duke University. He will do so next year. There will be no him committing early and reclassifying. He will be a commit of the class of 2027. So Jason, I know you had some stats about Kager. We talked a little bit about what he's done on like the random circuits, but talk about his EYBL stats from this past summer.
Yeah, it's a little bit outrageous, and we've mentioned Kager for a little while on here. Obviously, because of his connection to Khan, we've been paying extra attention to him. I think Duke fans, you get this sense when you have a familial relationship with someone. You're like, oh, the Boozer twins are coming to Duke. Their dad went to Duke. Oh, Kager Knueppel's coming to Duke. His brother went to Duke. It's not as simple as that. Everyone makes different decisions for different reasons, and John Shire has to work and explain to each and every one of these kids what their role will be, how John will help them get better, all those kind of things that go into being a recruit for Duke University.
And in some cases, it's harder. When you think about the recruitment of Cam and Caden Boozer, their big thing was, hey, coming to Duke, they had expressed concerns that they would be living under the shadow of their dad, Carlos. And that's an easy assumption to have, or at least an easy concern to have, given what Carlos did for this university. But John and the rest of the coaching staff had to sell them on, hey, no, you are going to have your own legacy here. Yes, your dad's number's in the rafters. It doesn't have his name on it, but we know that he wore that number. But you guys are going to get to be able to create your own legacies within your own right. And that's what sold them on coming to Duke. It's sometimes a harder task to get the brother or the son of a former player to come to Duke, as opposed to some guy who doesn't have any connection to the university.
And the reason I brought all this up is to note that at the start of the summer, late spring, as we sort of entered the time when teams begin to focus on, the guys who are rising seniors like Kager Knueppel. Kager did not have an offer from Duke because, let's be very honest, I don't know that John Shire was convinced that Kager was the kind of recruit who would make sense for the Blue Devils. I don't know that Kager was convinced that Duke was the right spot for him. A lot of recruiting services had Kager outside of the top 100, or maybe at the very, very back end of the top 100. And then he started to play EYBL, which is the absolute elite, the top circuit out there. You're playing on nothing but against teams who have the very, very best players in the class. This is not to put down 3SSB, which is the Adidas circuit, Nike and Adidas, and there's an Under Armour circuit. But honestly, I think
EYBL is the pinnacle. It has been for a very long time.
Right. Even the Adidas people would probably admit Cam Williams was an Adidas guy who dominated at 3SSB, but I think even those guys would admit, EYBL is a little bit of a step up. So Kager's playing EYBL basketball, and first of all, he's a winner. His team, I want to say they're 6-1, 7-1, something like that. I forget the exact number, but his team hero is one of the best teams in EYBL. And Kager has been their best player. He averages better than 16 points per game for them. The shooting, Donald, outrageous, ridiculous. Their record is 9-2. I was looking at an older. Their record is 9-2. Team hero,
still solid
again.
Still solid.
Exactly. Playing in EYBL, that's a crazy good record.
How dare they only lose? How dare they only win 9 games?
Exactly. So let's go ahead and tell folks. Kager is hitting 50.7% of his three-pointers. He's taken almost 7 3-pointers a game, and he's hitting 3.5 of them. That's absurd, Donald. You don't see numbers like that. I'm not saying that's unusual. I'm not saying it's rare. You don't see guys taking 7 3-pointers a game and hitting better than 50% of them. It just doesn't happen. And it's worth noting, Kager's 6'10". He's 6'10". He's a shot blocker. He averages better than one shot block, like 1.25 or so shots blocked per game. He gets 5.5 rebounds per game. I mean, like, he's a good power forward who happens to hit 50% of his threes. What are we even talking about here? So I mentioned the recruiting ranking. Yeah, you can throw out that top 100 kind of stuff. The latest recruiting rankings have Kager as a top 30 player in the class, and he just continues to rise. And it's very clear that John Shire saw him play and went, yeah, this dude can contribute at Duke.
Well, also, Jason, let's go back about, 15 months to right after the 2025 Final Four. And even when we were talking about right before, when we talked to Sherry Knueppel, and she mentioned that Kager and Kinston were not going to go to the Final Four because they had
what a great story.
Basketball,
yes.
Right. And they said, and Con said, you don't miss basketball. Like, that's your opportunity to get better. There'll be other times, maybe on Monday, if we make the Final Four, you can make it, but don't miss a basketball game. If you remember then, Jason, we were talking about Kinston and Kager and all the other Knueppels, and Con was still the tallest of the bunch.
Right.
Con is 6'6". That tells you how much that Kager has grown in a year. And with that, I don't think people really can grasp how difficult it is for someone to grow 5-6 inches in a year, but also gain the skill necessary to get better. Those two things sometimes don't go hand in hand. You have to really learn your coordination all over again, your footwork all over again when you grow from 5 inches in a year. I'll tell you, as a sprinter, I went from 4'7" to 5'7" in a summer, and I almost had to relearn how to run. Like, that's how difficult it can be. And that I didn't have to use the basketball with that. I just had to figure out how to run in a straight line and not fall over myself. But for guys, sometimes that becomes you kind of like a giraffe, where you kind of have to relearn how to balance yourself. So the fact that he has gotten so much better in a year while also growing so much and becoming more of a guy that you go, he's now a 6'10" power forward as opposed to a 6'4" shooting guard. That is a major difference. And I love how that kind of will blend into some of what we got going on next year, how he's going to fit into next year's game when you have a Boomshay, when you probably have maybe a Cam Williams, if Pat decides to stay an extra year. Maxi Meyer, we're going to have some tall trees, Jason, in the line, because he's not done growing. I feel like he could get 7 foot by the time he gets to Durham.
Yeah, can you imagine the shooting we'd have if we have JBB and Kager on the floor at the same time? Just ridiculous stuff. The other thing I want to mention about Kager is something that isn't measured necessarily in statistics. I've seen some of his games. I've obviously read a lot of reports about his game. And what I'm going to say next is going to surprise people exactly zero, because they all got to see Con play basketball. The thing that people who watch Kager say about him is he has elite feel for the game. He has incredible basketball IQ. That should, again, that comes from Sherry Nordgaard Knueppel and Con Knueppel Sr., who have raised these kids. There's been a basketball in their crib since the moment those boys were born.
The Flying Knueppels. Shout out to Gus Macker.
Yep, the Flying Knueppels for sure. These guys have been playing, studying, understanding, thinking basketball for years and years. And I think that is one of the reasons Kager sort of performs better than his rankings might indicate. It's one of the things I'm sure John Shire saw. It's one of the things we got to experience from Con the 1 year that he was at Duke. It is something that you have seen at an absolutely elite level with Con on the Charlotte Hornets. Yeah, these guys can shoot the friggin' lights out. I mean, one of the best, probably the best shooter in his class, just like his brother was the best shooter in his class. But it's much more than just a dude who bombs away. It is a guy who understands how to get to the right spots, understands what to do with the ball when he gets to those spots, understands the little things to do to make his teammates better, is going to play off of 2 feet and be dangerous all the time when the ball is in his hands or not, constantly moving. Feel for the game. Basketball IQ. These are things that Jon Scheyer values a tremendous amount, maybe even more than the elite run jump that so many guys seem to fall in love with. Jon Scheyer wants guys who understand how to play basketball, and he's gotten one in Kager Knueppel.
Last thing from me, Jason, if there is one thing that I'm most excited about and most ready to see what happens, is the similar trajectory between Con and Kager. And this, look, just like Carlos and Cam and Caden, we try not to compare, guys that are on the team to their predecessors, whether it be their father or their brother or whatever. But in the case of Con versus Kager, if you recall, Jason, Cherry shared a story about how Con was basically like being shut out of some of these, major tournaments and major all-star games. And he took it on himself to say like, oh, these guys are getting drafted in the NBA. I can do that. And a year later, he was the Con Knueppel that we know. He showed up on campus with an attitude and a competitive desire to want to be better. And by the end of the summer, we were talking, oh my goodness, this Con Knueppel guy might be something special. If Kager shows any similar trajectory with regards to competitive drive and the ability to improve, we've already seen that he's had a similar trajectory with regards to the rankings, right? He's a late bloomer that all of a sudden shot up, and all of a sudden people are like, wait, Jon Scheyer got this guy that we weren't even talking about yesterday, and now he's in the top 30 and looks like to be getting better. If he brings that competitive drive, which that family clearly has, to Durham, that makes this team so much better, because you're going to have one of those guys who's not going to quit, one of those guys who's going to look at other guys and say, if all these guys are going to be in the NBA, then I can be right there with them. That kind of mentality is going to really help next year's team as well. So he's got a whole year to grow into that, but I'm sure he's learning from his brother, he's learning from his parents, he's learning from his uncles about what competitive fire is, and how when you step on the court, you want to win everything. You want to win every drill, you want to win every moment, because that's what's going to make you better and make it where you're in a position where you can be a draft pick in the first round in the NBA a year from now or 2 years from now, whenever that may be. So really, really excited for Kager, and really excited to see how that blossoms in the next year. Last word to you.
Actually, hey, Donald, you know what? Let's take a quick break, because on the other side, I want to mention there was a guy in the class of 2027. We didn't get a chance to talk about him yet. Take a quick break. And on the other side, Kager's the first 2027 recruit. Jon Scheyer's not done. He's got more guys he's got his eye on. I want to tell folks about that in just a moment.
Well, you already heard it. So let's take that break. More on the other side.
Comcast is delivering extraordinary experiences in live sports. Through the incredible broadcast and storytelling from NBC, innovative and personalized viewing features on Xfinity and Peacock, and the country's most reliable Wi-Fi, viewers can enjoy every game-changing play faster and more seamlessly than ever. All on a network built to deliver unforgettable moments as close to live as possible. The ultimate experience for the American sports fan. Learn more at ComcastCorporation.com/sports.
Pace Checkout is offered by your banks and credit unions. So when you shop online at participating merchants, your cards appear in one place, ready to use and kept up to date. And the best part, your actual card number isn't shared when you check out, because boundaries are healthy, like no work emails after 6. One small step for boundaries, one big leap for checkout. Pace. It checks out. Activation required. See Pace.com to learn more. Terms and conditions apply.
This episode is brought to you by State Farm. Listening to this podcast instead of doom scrolling? Smart move. Another smart move? Getting help from one of State Farm's 19,000 local agents when you choose to bundle home and auto. Bundling, just another way to save with the Personal Price Plan. Prices are based on rating plans that vary by state. Coverage options are selected by the customer. Availability, amount of discounts and savings, and eligibility vary by state.
This is going to be an extremely busy month. I have to watch 104 soccer games, follow the pregame, the postgame, yell useless opinions at the TV. It's a lot. So I knew that when it comes to screening for colon cancer, the choice was clear. The Cologuard Plus test. It can be used at home and can only take 15 minutes, so I can do it during halftime and not miss any action. If you are 45 or older and at average risk, ask your healthcare provider about screening for colon cancer with the Cologuard test. You can also request a prescription at Cologuard.com.
Tomorrow morning is knocking. Stock your fridge now. How about a creamy mocha frappuccino drink? Or a sweet vanilla? Smooth caramel, maybe? Or a white chocolate mocha? Whichever you choose, delicious coffee awaits. Find Starbucks Frappuccino drinks wherever you buy your groceries.
All right, we're back, and as we are very, very happy about Kager Knueppel committing to Duke very, very late on this Monday, June 29th. Jason, you mentioned another guy in the class of 2027 that Duke has their eye on, and hopefully Kager now can turn to recruiter and help this guy get to campus as well.
Yeah, exactly. So we've mentioned Beckham Black, who's a class of 2027 guy. He's playing with the FIBA under-17 team right now over in Istanbul with Joachim Bumche. This is someone completely different. This is a new name that has come up for Duke. It's Adon Diggs. He's considered a top 5, maybe even perhaps the number 1 player in the class, ranked somewhat similarly to Beckham Black. Beckham Black is a pure point guard. Adon Diggs is more of a combo guard. You know, he could play point, but he's probably more of a wing. 6'4", an absolute 3-level scorer. Like, dude can shoot threes. Dude can take you off the dribble. Dude can get to the rim. He's very athletic, very fluid. And by the way, a guy who plays at both ends of the floor. One of the things that, you know, when I've seen and what I've read about Adon Diggs is that he's someone who isn't just an offensive force. He's someone who also plays hard on the defensive end of the floor. Look, I don't know how many of these guys Duke is going to get. Donald, you and I talked on the last podcast about the 5-and-5 rule and trying to figure out who's going to be back and who's not and all this other kind of stuff. But boy, Jon Scheyer is really shooting high in the class of 2027. He's obviously gotten the best shooter already in Kager Knueppel, and he has his eye on the best point guard, and now it appears he has his eye on the best combo guard in the class as well. There's and we already know, no matter what we know, that Joachim Bumche is going to be there, so he's going to have the best power forward in the class as well. It's just a really impressive. I just wanted to shout out and mention, keep an eye on Adon Diggs, yet another name of a guy that Duke is after. I don't think things will move as fast with Beckham Black and Adon Diggs as they have with Kager Knueppel. That's okay. Take a little bit of time, figure things out, boys, because if what Jon Scheyer wants, Jon Scheyer gets. So you can take your time, but we know if he wants you, you're coming.
Well, there's also, I think for those guys especially, it's a little bit a little bit different in the sense that, as we've talked about, we currently have 4 point guards on the team, of which all of them, in theory, could come back for another season at Duke. And so I'm sure that is weighing into the calculus of these guys of saying, hey, let's see how this logjam kind of plays itself out, because it's right now hard to realistically say that you're going to keep all 4 point guards next year. But you never know, because Jon Scheyer has been basically trending towards trying to keep more guys as opposed to going out and getting a bunch of freshmen to come in to fill in spots. It's easier to try and keep guys and retain them. And so I think with Beckham Black and Adon Diggs, you might see those guys are maybe waiting to see how that logjam kind of works stuff out and where they see a role at Duke. And it wouldn't be something where they feel like, oh, well, they're going to keep all these guys, we should look elsewhere. Maybe they want that competition, which is how we ended up with John Blackwell, right? Like, we sold them on the fact that, yeah, we have 3 point guards and you could be number 4, but everybody's going to compete. That is something that Jon Scheyer and the coaching staff have been very great at selling recruits on, and buying into the fact that nobody's promised a starting spot. Everyone's promised the competition for all of these minutes that we do have, all 200 minutes that we can give out. And I like the fact that he's going after the top guys in the class, because that's, as Duke fans, with this balance that we've been asking for, that has still remained constant, that we should try to go after the top guys in the class that we think would be a great fit for this basketball team to help us go for national championships year after year. So if all those guys can come to Durham and we hang on to some guys from this year's team, we're going to be stacked again next year, and we're going to have the same conversation of where are all these minutes going to come from? Who's going to start? It's a great problem to have.
All right, last thing really fast on Adon Diggs, and it's just something that I know. I was watching a little bit of tape on him the other day, and I almost don't want to say this, Folks, turn off the podcast. Don't listen. I got a little tiny bit of a Malik Brown kind of vibe from him on defense. Like he strays occasionally on defense. When he's, I guess you'd say, remember Malik would sometimes sort of leave his man a little bit to be like, oh, I'm going to roam over here. I can sense that this is where the ball's heading. And he would kind of, head over and toward that area or toward where he can give a little bit of help. And then suddenly there's a deflection and a steal and Malik's headed the other direction or Duke's headed the other direction. I see a little bit of that, not a lot, but a little bit of that from Adon Diggs on defense. And I mean, I don't know how you don't get excited about a guy like that doing that on defense, especially when you consider his ability to get to his spots on the floor and score on offense. This is a guy I've been wanting Duke to get involved with for a while. So when I heard about the offer, I was like, yes, this is one that I want, because I love those smart two-way players who have that high basketball IQ. As I said earlier, talking about Kager, that is something Adon Diggs has in spades, and it's something that John Shire values tremendously.
Jason, have you seen the episode of The Office where Michael Scott was talking about somebody and goes, they were in a serious accident and we took him to the hospital, and unfortunately everything was serious, and unfortunately she's going to be okay. That's what you just did with Adon Diggs and his defense, because the way you set that up, I was like, oh no, there's a major flaw that he's about to talk about. You said he has a little bit Malik Brown in him. Please have more Malik Brown in. Everyone should have a little bit of Malik Brown in. So naughty Jason leading us astray, thinking we were about to serve some a cold dish of reality, and instead now our heads are in the clouds with this guy, so.
And I should not put those kind of expectations on the kid. I really shouldn't. Adon, I apologize. You're allowed to just be the first Adon Diggs when you come to Duke. Don't worry, buddy.
But if you have some of those tendencies, bring them with you, because they're useful, and they can get you places, as we saw with Malik Brown and the NBA. But Jason, that'll do it for this episode of the Duke Basketball Roundup. We'll be back later this week, maybe with a Knueppel in tow, to talk to them about this new recruit, Kager Knueppel, and how he's going to fit in with Duke, and how excited they are they never left the Duke family, but at least to continue on as parents of a Duke basketball player. He's Jason. I'm Donald. I got to go to bed because I'm going out west, and I will hopefully see you on a future episode. But until then, here's the Duke Band to play us out and take us home.
This episode is brought to you by Google Health. Stop chasing someone else's definition of health. What matters is what's healthy for you. Google Health offers a new kind of coach built with Gemini for effortless tracking, sleep insights, and holistic coaching tailored to you. Visit googlestore.com to learn more and start a new relationship with your health. Requires Google account, Google Health app, internet, and Google Health Premium subscription. Features subject to change. Availability and results vary. Not intended for medical purposes. Works independently of Gemini apps. Check responses for accuracy.
You mind if we make one more stop before heading back? I need to run a Target.
100%. Let's RTT. You thinking of stuff for the dorm?
Yeah. My mom gave me some good tips on must-have essentials. We for sure need underbed storage, handheld iron for wrinkles, maybe even a mini Keurig for Mondays. Am I right?
All right, bet. Because I was already thinking about keeping my clothes looking fresh at college, so you better be sharing that.
Of course, man. Whatever I get on this run is yours too.
Twin.
But for real, let's go before they close.
Find everything you need for college at Target.
Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile. I don't know if you knew this, but anyone can get the same premium wireless for $15 a month plan that I've been enjoying. It's not just for celebrities. So do like I did and have one of your assistants switch you to Mint Mobile today. I'm told it's super easy to do at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan, equivalent to $15 per month required. Intro rate first 3 months only, then full price plan options available. Taxes and fees extra. See full terms at mintmobile.com.
Are you one of those media strategy people clicking through slides, scrolling spreadsheets? Yes? Good. This is for you. Because on Spotify, there's an audience that's different, locked in, loyal, invested. They're called fans. Fans don't just listen to music, they feel seen by it, like it belongs to them. So when your brand shows up on Spotify, that's who you're talking to. And you're right next to artists like me, Lizzo. So, are you ready to talk to fans? Spotify advertising. You're among fans.